later. But I'd love to understand the sort of what do you think are some of the more important habits that founders need to take on in the sales leadership role?
Yeah. We've looked at and have spent a couple of decades researching this question: which habits make the biggest difference to your performance in life in general, and in particular in the world of sales at work? And a lot of them people write off as soft skills, and we think of them as power habits. So just a couple of them is, number one, the ability to listen with empathy, which is a very different skill from active listening, making a show of and nodding along that you're listening. Listening with empathy is allowing yourself to feel what someone else feels so you can recreate the experience that they're having for them, leaving them feeling seen rather than heard, understood rather than just, nodded along to, and connected with you. It's based on the truth of this statement. We quite literally fall in love with great listeners. So if you want people to follow you up that mountain as a leader or take a risk on you as a customer, listening is the super skill. There are corollaries to that or matching habits. The habit of asking questions that unlocks greatness in other people. And again, we tend to think of questions as just something we do to get an answer. And of course they are. But questions are like a Swiss Army knife. There are questions that help us connect with humans. There are questions that help people change their perspective. There are questions that make it easier for people to focus on next steps. There are questions that signal that we're listening. So it's getting really good at understanding what role questions play beyond simply getting an answer. And why does that matter? In sales, amateurs who ask a lot of questions end up leaving customers feeling like they're in an interrogation. Professionals who know how to choreograph questions and listening end up with customers who say things like, "This felt like therapy. It was awesome. We had a wonderful conversation." And, if you think about a conversation, that the third habit I'm very strong on is the habit of telling stories to change minds. Because I don't know about you, but I've never met another human being who likes being told what to do, especially by a salesperson. But it is our job to tell customers what to do. So how do you do that without having them react and want to do exactly the opposite just to spite you? And of course, stories is the way to change a human mind by allowing them to see for themselves what's possible versus telling them what to do. So there are others, and I would say that those three are, for me, the most important three skills, because most of the compound moves we learn in sales systems are combinations of that. Handling an objection is listen first, ask some questions, tell a story, maybe with some connective tissue. Competitive differentiation is about listening to what a customer really needs, asking some questions to either shift their perspective or deepen your knowledge, and then tell a story that positions your company in the right way. So there are lots of compound, wonderful sales skills that if you break them down, the Lego blocks of them are these simple but profound power habits. Last but not least, I'd say the most important habit is the habit of creating a trustworthy first impression. And that requires the mental gymnastics for getting over the reality that as a salesperson, you are in the category of the least trustworthy profession on the planet. And if you are not okay with that, get out of sales. And if you are okay with that, you realize job number one is I need to demonstrate I'm a human being rather than I'm a salesperson. Now, are you both? Of course, but no one wants to work with a salesperson. Everyone wants to hang out with a magnetic, interesting, wonderful human being. So how do you do that in the milliseconds to minutes when you first meet someone?